Good morning, family. Today is Saturday, November 4th. Welcome to the Afrolatina show. I am your host, Alicia Anabel Santos, La Diosa Dominicana, and we are on episode 21. Yay! And the title of today's show is What Are You Waiting For? Before I do that, happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, happy birthday, dear Alicia. So I am celebrating 16 years of claiming the title, owning the title, writer. The moment that I said, I am a writer. That was October 3rd, 2001. That's the day that I said, I'm a writer. When I knew it, when I owned it and held it close. Here we are 16 years later, and I'm celebrating another anniversary today, and I would call today the anniversary of my death. There are a few things I want to share before I even get into the story I'm going to share today. October I'm a Leo. I was born in July, but my birthday month is October. Why is October my birth month? It's a month of rebirth. It's the month where a lot of firsts happened to me. It was when it was after my cousin died, I began to look for ways to create. While I was in mourning, I was very connected to him and was listening to a lot of the things he was saying to me. He's one of my guardian angels and one of my spirit guides. And so October is a month where I had my first idea for my first story, The Daughters of the Revolution. October is the month that the New York City Latina Writers Group was founded. October is the month where I had my nervous breakdown at Condé Nast. And all of that, all of my first, October being my month of rebirth, is because November 4th would be a day of death for me. So today is bittersweet, right? Because it's my father's birthday. Happy birthday, Papi. Bendición, Papi. I love you. My daddy lives in Florida, and Courtney and I called him at midnight to sing to him. He is my ace. He's my dude. We love him so much. So happy birthday, Dad. November 4th, 2003. This is a long one. Get some coffee, get some tea, put it on pause. November 4th, 2003, I was working at Condé Nast. And this day, I worked for two executives. So I was the executive assistant to a vice president and an executive director. The executive director was an amazing human being. He is the kind of boss that he didn't see titles. We were all equal. We were all equal. He went to lunch with me. He went to lunch with execs. It was like, I've always said, what executives eat with the help, right? I felt I was the help, and so he never made me feel as though I was less than him. So November 4th, 2003, I do what I always do. I answer phone calls. I got his breakfast and checked in. This day I decided to go out for lunch. I came back, and one of the things that I would do was make sure that he was on time for his meeting. So I would buzz his office, I would call him, I would text him, I would remind him to get on time, I would order his cars. And this day his office door was closed, and I just assumed that he'd already left for the meeting. I buzzed and buzzed and buzzed, no answer, no answer, no answer. I decided to get the key to his office. I knocked, I unlocked it, and I saw Kevin. He was sitting at his desk with his head down, like he had a headache. And I was like, KB, let's go. You're late for your meeting. You gotta go. Nothing. Then I kind of nudged his shoulder. KB, wake up. Nothing. Then I touched his neck. KB. He was ice cold. I was frantic. I ran out of his office. I went to seek help. We all came back. They began, the two men that I went to get, went to go and try to revive him, try to help him, and I couldn't see it. I hid under my desk. I was crying. I was in hysterics. I was devastated. I don't know how long after, but I remember him being taken from his office on a cot by the EMT team who came, and all I remember was this white sheet over his body as he was being taken out of his office through the beautiful Condé Nast doors. The very next day, I went to work. At this point, his family had flown in, and his mother wanted to meet with me. And I remember being in his office with her, and she wanted to know all of the details of what happened and how I found him. She was so lovely. She was consoling me, holding me, lifting me, loving me. And I will always remember, well, there were two things that she said to me when she came. She said, take anything you want. Take anything you want from his office. Take anything you want from his apartment. He lived on Fifth Avenue. He had an apartment on Fifth Avenue, and then he had a house upstate. She wanted me to have anything that I wanted of his. And I was very intentional. I took a little clock, a little, nothing clock, like plastic, but it was his. And I took a cactus that he had in his desk, which has since been stolen because it was stolen at Condé Nast when I had my breakdown, motherfuckers. And his journal, the last journal that he wrote in, I wanted that. I wanted the last words that he had written, even though it was business stuff. She said to me, Alicia, I'm so glad that it was you who found him. And I just cried. She said, I want you to know that is the most intimate moment you could have had with him. You were the one who was meant to find him because you loved him. KB was amazing. He was generous and kind. He was the reason why I went to my first Broadway show. We went to our first Broadway show, Courtney and I. He gave us tickets to go see Into the Woods. He gave me money. He gave me gifts. He always gave me encouragement and support. He was always talking to me about my future and my plans and wanting to see my resume. And he always invited me to lunch. And I mean, he took an interest. He was invested in me, in my worth, in my value. He was a friend. I've never had bosses that were my friends because you work for people. I worked with him. Before he died, weeks before he died, I was on the phone taking messages, and I'm talking, and he's standing above me in my cubicle, and he's like, hey, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you. He gave me this envelope, and I'm like, yeah, thank you. I took the envelope and I put it to the side by my phone. And he, take a second. So he had given me this envelope, and I hadn't opened the envelope until after he died. And when I opened the envelope, I noticed that it's a $500 gift certificate from Max Mara on Fifth Avenue. So just imagine, a trip to Rodeo Drive. Max Mara is one of those places that you go into and they serve you coffee and tea and champagne or wine, and you say, "Bring me a black skirt," and they bring you every black skirt they have. It was that. It was that like Pretty Woman experience with Julie Roberts. Yeah, that was me. I got an email from a coworker who was on his team who reported to him, and she wanted to tell me the story of the gift certificate. And she said that he came to see her and said, "Can someone get something with this? Can someone get something nice, or can they just get like a pair of earrings with this $500?" And she's like, "No, they can get something really, really beautiful." She's like, "Why? Who are you giving it to?" And he said, "Oh, I'm giving it to Alicia." And she said, "Wow, that's a really nice gift." And he said, "She's really nice to me." I love that motherfucker. I didn't know the backstory behind that beautiful, generous gift. And what I ended up doing with that gift certificate was I bought an A-line skirt, a black skirt that I wore to his funeral, because Condé Nast was kind enough to fly my daughter and I to Grand Rapids to his funeral. And so I'm very grateful to them for allowing us to go say goodbye. And I bought myself a red scarf that I hadn't washed in 13 years since I bought it. I hadn't washed it. It's the red scarf. There's a lot of photos with me with this red scarf, and a lot of speaking engagements. It's my Kevin scarf. So why am I sharing my Kevin story? Today my question is, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Kevin died November 4th, 2003. And I had to walk into that building every single day since his death. And so opening a door for me was a traumatic event. Opening up a door that was closed is still today a moment of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to fucking find. Oh my God, it's very terrifying. But opening up a door at Condé Nast, walking into that building every day was like reliving that experience every day. He died in 2003. And I walked into his office every day for a year until I finally couldn't do it anymore. And I asked to be, the other boss that I was working for, she didn't want to let me go. But she wasn't thinking about my mental health or my spiritual health. She was just thinking about her needs. That, she just needed her assistant to be able to kind of like pick herself back up and get shit done and meet her deadlines. But she wasn't cared. She didn't care about my growth and my development and my happiness. She didn't give a fuck. They still don't give a fuck. I went to the head of HR above my boss. She was pissed about that shit. Pissed that the head of HR actually gave me an audience. She couldn't get meetings with her for like days because the head of HR. But anytime that I called the HR person, the vice president of HR, she made time to see me. She was a woman of color. And, today in retrospect, then I couldn't appreciate the fact that she was a woman of color who was honoring a woman of color. Even though in terms of the hierarchy, I'm down here and she's up here. I'm very grateful to her. Not a fan of the company, grateful to her. So my boss was pissed because the head of HR granted my lateral move. And so I ended up I floated around before I got a permanent thing. I was at GQ, I was at Details, I was at Vogue, Vanity Fair, until I landed at Glamour. The first day I get to Glamour, I'm excited because I'm working for the editor-in-chief of Glamour Magazine. Huge. I've made it. I'm going to be writing for Glamour Magazine any day now. It's on and popping. Let's get it. My first day on the job, she's fired. Calls me into office in her office, and she's like, I hate to tell you this, I've just been let go. I'm going to need you to pack up all my shit. First day on the motherfucking job. I'm there for a few months as they figure shit out, and I'm sort of in limbo. They moved me to Domino Magazine. All right, it's a brand new magazine. The magazine's about to launch. I'm the executive assistant to the editor-in-chief. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling like I can do this. Now, remember, I lost Kevin, and so my coping mechanism was to just keep moving. I wasn't really sitting in the grief. I didn't acknowledge my pain. I cried those first few days, but then it was business as usual. That's the culture. It's like they don't give a fuck about human beings and their feelings. You just keep moving. You just keep moving. You just keep moving. You just keep moving. You keep producing. Execute. I'm at Domino Magazine, and I'm working for this editor-in-chief, and she's a terrible human being. She's a hypocrite. She's not nice. She's rude, condescending, disrespectful. This post is not about her. It is about the day that I had my nervous breakdown, which my daughter actually came to work with me this particular day. It was a holiday. Schools were closed. And I was feeling myself. It was October 6th, 2004. October 6th, 2004. I was sleeping. I was woken up at 5 in the morning. Now, I forgot to mention that when Kevin died, November 4th, 2003, I had him written for almost a year. The entire time, I was just moving. October 6th, he whispers in my ear, get up. Get up from bed, get up and write. Kevin is just whispering, get up. I get up from bed and I started writing again. And I looked amazing. When my daughter woke up to get ready for school, she could not believe that I had my makeup on, that I had on my strappy high heels on, that I had on this dope skirt and this fitted blouse, and that I looked powerful and beautiful. And I went to work this day feeling myself with my daughter, proud of her mama. And this lady begins to just barking orders, disrespecting me. I felt that she saw me walk in with all of this strength and beauty and power, and she just fucking wanted to crush me with all this insignificant shit that was beneath me, because that's how I was feeling. I was feeling myself that day. So that day I was like, I can't do this. I took my daughter to lunch. I had no appetite. We sat alone in the cubicle, and I was just crying. I just let it all out. I was just crying hysterically, and my daughter just taps me. She's like, Mommy, slurping her noodles. Mommy, right, why are you crying? I said, I can't do this anymore. She's like, Mommy, then just quit. If you're so unhappy, just quit. I couldn't believe, from the mouths of babes, right? I couldn't believe that my little one gave me the most sage advice another human being could give me. Just quit. You're so fucking unhappy. Just fucking leave. I got up. I walked into the editor-in-chief's office. She was in an editorial meeting, and I pulled her out of her meeting. She was like, what's going on? What's going on? And we stand outside her door, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't be here anymore. I quit. She was like, oh my God, but why? I can't do this anymore. I took my daughter, we left. I had left all my shit, abandoned my work. I didn't even at that point call HR. I just left. And when I went home, you couldn't get me out of bed. You couldn't get me out of bed. You couldn't get me moving. You couldn't get me to do shit. I was pretty much done. What are you waiting for to begin? The moment that I realized that I could no longer do that anymore, that I could no longer belittle myself, was such a blessing. Horrible to experience and go through, and must have been devastating for my daughter to watch, but incredibly necessary for my life and my writer's journey. I continued, so I was off from work for maybe a week where I didn't get out of bed. And then I ended up coming back just for a few months. At this point, we were negotiating getting a severance package and then letting me go so that I could collect and just be done with this experience. In January 2005, I left Condé Nast and never looked back. I walked out that fucking door like fucking Mary Tyler Moore. You know, she throws the fucking hat up in the air. I was deuces, motherfuckers, I'm out of here. And I felt when I walked out those doors, the revolving doors, and I got out into that cold air hitting my face, it felt like freedom. And I went to NYU full time and all of these amazing things. So happy birthday to me. Today is my birthday. October and November are birthday months for me. What are you waiting for to begin? I think for me, death has been the thing that has propelled me to come back to the page, reminding myself that life is so short and I have incredible gifts to share. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for to start? Are we waiting for the perfect variables? Are we waiting for permission from our partners? Are we waiting for our kids to grow up and leave the house? Are we waiting to win the lotto? Are we waiting to slow down to make more time? What are the excuses, right? What are we waiting for to say, this is it? I can't do this anymore. I have to live. I have to choose me. What are we waiting for? What are you waiting for? So, as we close every show, let's do a meditation. What are you waiting for? Close your eyes, get comfortable. Let's take some deep breaths in, out, in, out, in, out. Put your hands wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you need them on your body. I want you to think about what it would take for you to go for it. What it would take for me to go for it is, I want you to see it. What would it take? What does life look like? Like for me, it's a private chef. It's someone who does my laundry. What would it take? What's the perfect scenario for you to feel like you could even dare to go for it? And I'll come back. The truth is that those perfect scenarios don't exist. What are you going to do today? What will you do today to begin? What step can you take today? I want you to see that. Oh, it's a hard one. Oh, I feel it in my chest. What will it take today? And then we're going to set our intentions. My intention for today is, when you're ready, come out. What's it going to take? Well, for me personally, what it's going to take is for me to come to the page. So my intention for today is to create a new vow, to make new promises, to know that every day is a new opportunity for me to honor what it is that I want, and not be so hard on myself about that. Like every day is an opportunity for me to begin again. Yesterday's gone. My past is done. And so I have a new vow. I have a new commitment to my writing. I have a new commitment to my craft, to this creative process that we're in together. And so my intention for today is to keep it consistent. Have a beautiful day. Peace.